This is a quick video overview showing my approach to editing the Menace project. So this is the project in Premiere Pro 2023, and you can see what I call the composed sequence here. So in my project layout we've got film, where is it? Sorry, sequences, composed, and there it is. So this is the composed timeline, and all the green, and there's this blue one over here, all these are the other scene sequences. So each scene has its own sequence, and this makes it much easier to edit. So this is the anomaly scene. This makes it much easier to edit, and I can also do separate adjustment layers in each scene for color grading, and then there's of course the meta show. So you've got the meta show there. So while I'm editing, I can see the pixel count of the clip. I put that there just in case it doesn't become immediately useful. But in case there's a clip that's not in 4K, I can immediately know, okay, this clip isn't in 4K for whatever reason, and I can potentially avoid using it, so the film doesn't look pixelated. You also have the actual file name of the clip, so if I need to refer to this, I can just find that in the project. There's the source timecode, so I can see what timecode the camera set to this clip and which parts of the clip I'm using within the sequence, and there's of course the sequence timeline, or timecode, sorry. So those are the little nests, I guess you can call them. And then this top video track is an overlay with film grain. So you can see a very subtle difference when I turn it off. So the picture got a tiny bit brighter, but it's less grainy. So it's just film grain, that's all it is. It just emulates 35mm Kodak film grain. And there we go. That's back on now. And there's some little text here, so I don't know what this purple thing is. Let's find out. Let's see if this will load. Well, while that loads, here we go. So there's a few little tidbits. So I haven't done the sound for this yet. So I've just put in text, Hall says interrogation room 3 now, as a little reference. So I know what's happening, and when I render this as a screen test, the viewers know what's happening, instead of just it being an awkwardly silent phone call. And there's more text over here, which are just the opening credits, really. So if I come over to that, and once the program loads on my program monitor, you can see there's a credit there, so it says Malone. So that is the composed timeline for the Metallic Menace. So this is rendered in whole. And when sound is complete, there's going to be one 5.1 audio track down here. That is just the entire audio track for the film, including all the stems, the sounds, the music, everything. So everything lives in here, really. Now, for the layout of the bin, I've gone through I've tried to organize it as well as I can. There are some stray files here and there, but, you know, nothing too overwhelming. So at the top we have AU, that's short for audio. I just name it AU, just to, you know, save time when I'm typing things out. All that's in there is music, because I'm just using music that I've already composed for the film, wholly as a reference, and also because I'm not doing sound in Premiere. So when sound gets done, this folder will most likely get deleted, or there'll just be one file here, which is the entire 5.1 mixdown. And there's also a screen sound effect here. And then we have the color adjustment layer. So this is the adjustment layer applied to each scene to add color grading. I don't know what this is. This is the main footage bin. So if I double click this, you can see we have 3 folders here. So there's GoPro, 4K, Interview, 4K 50, and Main, which is in cinematic 4K there. So we never actually ended up using the GoPro for the final film, so that bin is empty. The interview has been sorted into each character's interview here. So you can see all the clips there. And there I am. There's a little sequence there, I made that as a joke. And then there's the main, so this has all been sorted into the scenes of the film. So this is all the scenes of the film here. And these are also labelled as such in the script. So in my editor's copy of the script, you can see I've got Jack Malone's intro written there, Tool meets Crumb written there. So when I was originally assembling the film, I would have had this open in front of me. I don't need it now because I know where everything is, because I sort of learned my way around this. But when I was originally assembling and logging all the clips, I would have had this open and referred to this subheading, which I've labelled. So pretty much annotated this script a little bit. See if I can find another. Here we go. So we got Anomaly here, which was the sequence that I opened earlier. There it is. So that's the editor's copy of the script you've just seen there as well, so that's good. But yeah, these are just all the clips, and there's also a little naming format of the clips. So if I find Reveal in Finder here, we'll get somewhere with this. Here we go. Reveal in Finder. I can get the focus right. There we go. So all the original source names of the media, which was recorded on the Panasonic X1, this all follows a format. It's very sort of procedural. So you got Metallic Menace, which is the name of the project. That's kind of obvious. We got main, so main stands for, well, the main camera. This is the camera shooting all the main footage that we're using for the film. And then the day of shoot, so we got day 1 there, and then the actual clip number. So day 1 has 38 clips, and then you got day 2, day 3, days 4 to like 8. I think there's 8 or 9 days of shooting. They're all on a different hard drive. So if I go to this hard drive here, and then footage, and you can see interview here as well. So there's all the interview footage. That's labelled as such, interview. And here's days 4 through 9. And of course there's the proxies as well, which are all stored on Google Drive to allow remote editing and to improve performance. So these are compressed, they're in .mov format, which is, yes, compressed, and it's a much smaller file size. So while the original 4K format would have been maybe up to like a few hundred megabytes, each clip here takes up a fraction of that. So when I'm remote editing on this laptop here, when I'm remote editing, I don't have to download 200 gigabytes, or I don't have to store 200 gigabytes on a portable hard drive, which I really prefer not to do. Nor do I have to wait for, say, a 50 gigabyte worth day of shooting to upload to Google Drive. I don't have to wait for any of that stuff. I can just upload this at a fraction of the size, and it will load faster and perform better on the laptop as well. And I've also used proxies on here. So if I enable this button here, this is the proxy, oh no, what have I done? This is the proxy toggle button. So it doesn't really come across on camera, but I can see it here on the program monitor. There's a watermark there that shows that the proxy media is enabled and working. And it's not really coming across on camera, but the quality of the program itself is really quite pixelated. So when I'm editing, this is what it looks like, but once I render it, it will be in full quality. It will use the full quality source material, even with proxy still enabled when I render it. And having the watermark really helps. You can choose when you're making the proxies whether or not to enable the watermark, so that's handy. And if I turn off proxies, that goes away and the original high quality media is used, and therefore a lot more resources on my Mac. So that's the footage organization in this project. There's also a sequence there for still selection, which I haven't filled in yet. So I'll fill that in, maybe, if I feel like it. Some music there, the meta show overlay, and then there's an overlay which has all my film look stuff. So this is basically my entire film look repository, which I must have downloaded about 2 years ago, and I've used for every project since. So Blackout, I think Dead End had film grain as well. That all uses this. So we got like film burn here. That looks pretty groovy. This is from a website called Pixel Tools, which is amazing. So this is the one that's in use currently. So the raw overlay is just grey, and you can hardly notice like the actual grain when you're just watching it by itself. But when it's put over the film in overlay sort of mode, it really adds to it. So that's the overlays bin. And then we of course have the sequences bin. So there's more bins in here. So we got the composed sequence, so here's the actual composed film. We have the film bin, which has all the scenes. So here they are, all named, all in their glorious form. And then we have the interview. So all the interview footage and the clips that I found actually useful and or as written in the script, because some of the interviews were written, some of them were improvised on the spot. I organised all those segments from the source material into little clips in a sequence, and then the sequence itself was cut and rearranged in the composed sequence. Yes, lots of sequences. And then we have the stills, so these are some of the production stills. I don't even know if these are the watermarked ones. Oh, they are. Let me see if I can find a good one to show you. This isn't even relevant to the film, but it's a picture I took on the day. So that shows up there. There are moments where I do want to use stills during an overlay to sort of add context to what a character is talking about during an interview, or just to give the viewers some more visual aid. And also it helps really sell the "we made a film 10 years ago" thing. That's not a very flattering image. See if you can find another good one. Here we go. So this is a really good image we got on the day. Myself and Kai did these stills photography, and we had a lot of fun with it, let me tell you. So that's the stills bin. And then the final bin is the VFX bin. Let me get this in focus. Let's zoom in a little bit more as well. So these are all the visual effects which I salvaged from as many like freeware websites as I could. So you got the lightning effect. I wonder what this is. Wow, it's a lightning effect. Who would have known, right? Looks kind of anime-ish. So that's used during the sequence where the Menace time travels in and where the Menace dies. Rip Menace. We got some muzzle flashes here. They're literally just a single frame long. So you've got flash and some sparks. That's a front-facing one. There's also a side-facing one. So these are overlaid into a frame where a gun goes off, and they're sized and rotated and whatever. In fact, if I go to Chrome on the Run here, you can see how this overlay works. Oh, it's very choppy. So that's the overlay right there. That's literally it. It's just that. I haven't put the most effort into just a rare muzzle flash. So if I go frame by frame a bit here and get the down camera in focus, here we go. So you can see, like right there, that's where the muzzle flash goes off, and it kind of works. And also, it's literally one frame long, so you're not really going to notice. Okay, that's a cheap effect. unless you pause and really look closely. Doesn't help I've got the proxy in use here, so this looks really pixelated, but it works. And again, it helps sell the "we made a really bad film on a shoestring budget 10 years ago" thing. If we use these cheap effects and we put some intentional mistakes here and there, as I researched, you know. And you can hardly see the sparks because our scale is so small. And if I go even further into the film here, so they're basically like little tiny clips there. I don't even know if you can see that, but they're literally so small on the timeline. That's how rare the use of muzzle flashes is. But as we can see, when Tor's gun goes off, there's the muzzle flash. It's not really directly connected to the gun, but again, it helps sell that, you know, cheap, tacky, fake bad thing, doesn't it? So there's that. And there's also some lighting effects here, so you can see a couple of the lighting effects in use. So that's what they look like. Very nice. And we got some shockwaves there. I don't know what this JPEG is. Oh, that's just white. Shockwave MOVs, which I've avoided using because they literally crash the render if I use a shockwave, so don't use shockwaves, I guess. So yeah, that is the project layout of the Metallic Menace.